belts, blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to the Triple B podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. We're back with episode 13 coming 13. At you. Crazy that we're already at this point.
Yeah, the episode's coming quick, coming fast, and yeah.
Just like me. So, we're jumping in. We have our cocktail of the week this week using last week's Wolcott bourbon that we got right here. We decided to do a bourbon sour.
Yeah.
Right? So, a little play off just your normal whiskey sour. We're using strictly bourbon on the show for the most part. So, very simple cocktail. I almost said concept, but I guess it is a concept for a cocktail.
Yeah, it's a
very
simple drink.
Cocktail, though. It's literally just bourbon, lemon juice, simple syrup. I did 2 ounces of the bourbon, 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, shook it all together, strained it into a glass, and we are here with it. So let's get our sip on.
All right. Cheers,
man. Let's do this. God damn it.
I mean, you said it. It's a simple drink. It
is
simple,
refreshing, and beautiful. I've always loved a whiskey sour.
Yeah.
And I don't order it very often. Like an old fashioned is usually like my go-to bar drink if I'm getting a cocktail. But a whiskey, and I think part of it is because I typically think of like a whiskey sour. Kind of, it's like a margarita of whiskeys in a way, True. Right? And yeah. I usually get super bad fucking heartburn after a margarita, even though I love them.
Agreed.
So I usually just stay away from it. But I'm like, fuck, I do love these things. I need this. Just like made me think I need to order this more often. Super simple, very basic, but it's absolutely fantastic. I'm giving it a 9.5.
Nice. I'm gonna follow up with an 8. I really like it, and we alluded to last episode. We weren't a big fan
of the
bourbon,
yeah.
But it does. We did say it would make a good cocktail, and
partners well when you start blending stuff with it.
It sure enough does. It is. It didn't have a flavor to the bourbon, if I remember right, and this really highlights the lemon, the simple syrup. So I really enjoy it. Yeah. We got hot weather today.
We do. So, it's been warm the last few days. So it's a perfect drink. Another good summer drink.
Yeah.
All right. 8. I went with a 9.5. I went high on it.
Yeah.
I really like it. I always forget how much I like a good whiskey sour until I have it. And I'm like, fuck, that's so goddamn good.
Yeah. It's definitely
been
right
up my alley.
Minute since I had one. And exactly. Just love it. So
yeah, it's really good.
All right. That brings us to our socials. You can find us at Trip B Pod on our Instagram, on our X, and TikTok. We can also be found on Apple Music or Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Spotify, and YouTube at the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters.
We got our Gmail if anyone wants to shoot us some info, some questions, things you want us to cover, anything like that, any sort of topics, even just feedback on how we're doing and what you guys think of the show. It's triplebpod619@gmail.com. So shoot us some info there. We'd love to hear from anyone that listens to the show.
Yeah, we love the interaction.
Yep. All right, we are 2 weeks into now. We officially started 2 weeks ago doing our little Triple B Pod weight loss journey. Me and Timmy are looking to try to get into shape, get a little healthier, just, all aspects of that. Yeah. So, dude, how's it going?
It's going good. I got to the gym a couple times. Really wanted to focus in on just portion control. That's been my biggest struggle with any diet, and eating too much, eating too fast, and then eating. So been trying to add some water before I eat, and then slowing down when I eat, and it's been a struggle, but I've been really working on the portion control, and so I weighed in at 262.9 when we did our initial one, and I'm at 261.6, so 1.3 pounds down.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about for you?
Yeah, man, it's going good. I I got back into the gym too. I also started doing some workouts just kind of on my own. I'm a teacher, so I'm usually up pretty early to get to school and get stuff done. So I've just been getting up a little earlier, and I've been going to the school, twice a week and doing a little track workout with like a little circuit training in there as well. So I've been doing that. I've been going on walks with the wife and baby, and going to the gym. So I kind of re-upped my stuff back to just kind of my normal for the most part over those last like week and a half. Took me a couple days after we first jumped into this for me to actually like kick my ass in gear. That I was like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Let's go. But I'm right in the same boat as you with the portion control stuff. I've always overate, I guess.
Yeah.
It sounds weird to say it that way, but I think that's the right way to say it. But yeah, I've always just like, I love food, and I'll like just be sitting there. If I'm watching something, I'm like, I need something to be doing with my hands. And that usually ends up being food, because anything else then distracts me from what I'm watching.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
so it's like if I'm on my phone or I'm doing anything else with my hands, I'm like focusing on that. But if I'm eating, that's just mindless, so, which is not good.
No.
But so yeah, it's been portion control and just kind of slowing stuff down and really just being mindful about it. One thing me and my wife have talked about quite a bit is just like not saying, and I don't know like if you've thought about this, but you referenced the term diet, and we've kind of just been like, and it might help you if you haven't thought of this, but I'm not on a diet.
Yeah.
It's just more of like getting back to the lifestyle that I prefer, is just like eating clean, eating healthy, and exercising. So it's like we're not saying that we're dieting, because that sounds so restrictive. Mm-hmm. It's like I could still literally eat whatever I want. It's just more in moderation and being mindful of when I'm doing it, Yeah. So that's that. I weighed in at 241.4, I believe it was when we first weighed in, and I weighed in this morning at 239.4. So I lost 2 pounds.
Way to go,
so
man.
I'm 2 pounds down. You're 1.3. We're right in that same area there, which we've talked about. I think is the best way to go about it. It's like, if I would have been concerned if either of us would have come in today and been like, yeah, dude, I dropped 7 pounds. And I'm like, whoa, the fuck are you doing?
And
I need to eat.
Yeah.
Like just doing it slow and controlled. That's definitely the healthiest way to do it. It's the most successful way to do it. And so, yeah, I mean, dude, that's off to a pretty damn good start. So.
Yeah. Any challenges you're facing at the time?
Well, I'm hoping it won't be, but I told you yesterday, I fucked my calf up the absolute most ridiculous way. My office chair at work, I bumped the lever that like raises the chair up and down, and my leg was in a compromised position when it happened, and I dropped my whole weight onto my leg, and I like fucked my calf up somehow. So I'm hoping that isn't an issue. It hindered me at the gym on Friday, but I still went. I think that's the key, is like, if I got to modify stuff, if I have to take it a little easier, that's fine, but still go and still like do my stuff. So that's definitely a challenge that I'm hoping doesn't last very long. I think just time, and because like my wife for the most part has been like doing her gym stuff at night after we put baby down. Mm-hmm. Obviously, once we put baby down, one of us has to stay home, so we can't both go do something. Yeah. So I've done yoga a couple times once we put her down, when Lindsay goes to the gym. But for the most part, my exercise time's at about 5:30 in the morning, which that's just a barrier in of itself sometimes. when you have a 10-month-old baby.
Yes, exactly.
Waking up early when you might have not slept that much is not always the easiest, but it's been okay. It's been better the last 4 or 5 days now, so it's all good. It's all, for the most part, most barriers like that for me are excuses. I think it's like, just get the fuck up and do it. Yeah. It's like, what's going to change for me between waking up at 5 and waking up at 5:30? It's literally a half hour difference. It's like, that's not going to change anything for me for how my day goes. So yeah, most of it's just mental. What about you?
I think just the remembering that we did start a challenge. So it was slow out the gate, but exactly what you said, just reminded myself and got right back on it. So I'm on it now, and like you said, just the slow and steady, and I was not disappointed seeing a pound at 1.3 off.
Absolutely. Dude, it's progress is progress.
Exactly.
Right. And I think I heard oddly enough, I heard Bianca and Jade's video package from SmackDown leading into Bash at Berlin, Jade actually mentioned, she said something that failure is part of the process.
Yep.
And so it's like, even if we, you know, either of us, we go from today to 2 weeks from today, and we, you know, redo the weigh-in and we've lost or even maybe gained a little bit, you just can't be super discouraged. Like, yeah, you're gonna be like, fuck, but then it's look at the process, and it's like, what happened? What did I do? What were the challenges? There's certain things that are going to happen in our lives that we might not eat the best because there was a party or there was something going on. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we did pretty good last night. We went and saw Foreigner last night. We didn't eat any fair food. We just got a beverage. That was it. And it wasn't even an alcoholic beverage either of us got.
Oh, we did really well.
Yeah. We did pretty good. We decided to eat at a restaurant instead. We ate what we ate there, but it was still like better than fucking deep fried fair food.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I mean, there's always going to be things. There's going to be stuff that gets in the way, but I think it's really important to just keep in mind that failure is okay.
And making the right choices, right?
Yeah.
Like we made a choice to go to a restaurant yesterday and skip out on the fare. So I think we did well.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah! Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, man.
But that leads us to belts. All right, so we are picking up with SmackDown from August 23rd. I guess 2 episodes of SmackDown before Bash at Berlin.
Yep. Waller Effect opens the show, and their guest on the show was Cody Rhodes.
Go figure.
And believe it or not, Waller is the one trying to tell Cody that, you know, he's using KO in this whole relationship that they got going on. And then Cody was quick to turn that around and go
real fast.
What about you
what the fuck
with Theory?
Yeah.
And I thought that was well done.
Was it just me, or was it just uncomfortable that Theory was like just like posing in different, like on the phone, because they like had the phone set up, obviously doing a TikTok or something, like they were filming it, live streaming it, or whatever they were doing. But he's just like standing behind, just posing. Like, he just looked like a fool.
Yes, he did.
And it was like he's totally playing into just like the idea that you're literally just there as a body for Waller to use. That was essentially what it was. Yeah. It was just like, what are you doing, dude?
And then that quickly turns over to Waller showing a highlight reel of all the times KO has backstabbed someone throughout his career in WWE, and the list is quite long.
It's quite long, yeah.
It was quite long, and I found myself going, I kind of missed that KO. You know, like
the unpredictable.
Yeah. No, I kind of missed him, but quickly after that, KO comes out to dismiss that and just says, you know what? Let's get this tag match going, and I'll just make it official. It becomes the main event of tonight's SmackDown. But then Waller pushes KO into Cody, and it feels like they're trying to build in that tension. It was accidental, obviously, and Cody didn't react, but it's just, you could tell like they're trying to plant those seeds, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and it just builds off of the previous week where that interaction between them that we had discussed, where it was just kind of like an uncomfortable, like KO was holding the title, and it was like, is he going to give it back? Is he going to try to hit him with it? Like, what's he going to do? And then he just kind of like walked past him and handed it to him, and then got out and walked off. So then it just like that, like you said, it's just kind of building that tension.
Yeah.
So this brings us to Nia versus Michin, set for a street fight.
Yep. Yeah. It's just like a little promo. They were setting up a street fight for the next episode of SmackDown. Pretty excited about that. I think, you know, Michin shines in the street fight. I think she's been in one before.
NXT.
I mean, sets it up with the kendo stick, you know, the previous episode. Felt like obviously going to lead to some kind of hardcore match. So street fight next episode. Feel like Nia's going to win that one.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if she didn't.
It would be complete swerve if Michin goes. But I'd be interested to see if any more tension rises between Tiffy and Nia in that match.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, like, a street fight is really, it's a perfect setup for what we talked about potentially on the last episode, is like the potential for Tiffany to
to cash in.
Like the street fight could very easily put Nia in a
very precarious situation.
Yes, absolutely. So there's definitely that could happen. We'll be on the lookout for that for sure. This led us to LA Knight coming out and essentially issuing an open challenge for next week's SmackDown for the U.S. title. Yeah,
he had a match with Escobar and beat him. A pretty straightforward match. But then, like you said, has an open challenge for next week's episode of SmackDown.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas of who it could be, or?
Honestly, no, I don't. I mean, it's you think of the roster on SmackDown, and I mean, you would think it would be Andrade or Carmelo, but they're kind of embroiled in this battle that they have going. So, I mean, if it was like if one of them did come out, then the other one's coming out. Then could it potentially turn to a triple threat? I don't know. I don't know. It was kind of those four, right? It was or Logan, I guess. But I feel like I just don't feel like we're gonna see Logan for a little bit after the loss, but. I do like that they're running with LA Knight kind of being a fighter, like a fighting champion though. After, I mean, Logan held it for however long he held it. He only defended it like twice, maybe three times when he lost it. So it's cool that like LA Knight has won it. And has he already defended it twice or just the once?
I think it's been the once.
Just the once against Escobar on this episode. But opening an issue or issuing an open challenge to anyone next week. So he's planning to defend it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
which doesn't happen very often with champions nowadays. So
I honestly, when he said it was an open challenge, I was trying to race through the SmackDown roster. And I'm like, I mean, maybe one of the bloodline, but I feel like they're embroiled in something. So I really don't have any clue.
That's true too.
Of who could be accepting the challenge.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and find out. Speaking of the bloodline, we get the tag team championship match between the Street Profits and the Bloodline. But before it actually starts, something interesting took place in the ring.
Yeah,
Solo.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it, dude.
Yeah, Solo listed 3 items. He said the OTC is done, Roman Reigns is done and over with.
Yep.
He says item number 2 is he's next in line for whoever wins between Cody Rhodes and KO.
KO. And however the fuck that works, I don't understand, but
and then thirdly, he says to Jacob to give him the title, and he gives it to Tonga Loa. And not a big fan of that.
No, for sure. Definitely not a big fan. I think I understand his reasoning behind it, where he said, like, you're my enforcer. I need you focused on this, not on that.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, that I understand. But at the same time, like, for the good of the business, don't put fucking Tonga Loa in that shit. God damn. I'm sorry, but I love the whole bloodline thing. I love Jacob Fatu. I like Tama. I like Solo. Tonga Loa is hot trash. He is fucking terrible in the ring. He has literally not shown us a single thing that it's been like, oh, okay, that was decent. It's all been pretty much bad.
The crowd, I mean, we're skipping ahead. They were saying you can't wrestle.
During the match, they were yelling, "You can't wrestle!" Like it was fucking crazy. I don't know. It's an interesting decision for sure.
That's true, and you do make a good point. Like, yes, it's to keep Jacob Fatu as the enforcer.
Yeah, I thought they were at least gonna like play it off as like, dude, you're in a walking boot. I want us to have the best shot. Yeah, which still wouldn't make a whole lot of sense based on what we've seen Jacob Fatu do in the walking boot. Yeah, but like still, like I don't know. It was all kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it yet. We'll see how it all plays out.
I feel like they could have at least done like a Freebird, like the Freebirds rule where
like any of them could have
rotate in.
That's what I thought they would do if that was the case. Like I figured like if they're gonna do the title match and Jacob's in a walking boot, then maybe they just are like, all right, anyone can sub in from the bloodline because the bloodline are the tag team champions. Yeah. That was kind of what I was thinking too, but obviously not what they did. And the only other way I'm gonna be okay with this is then if they push Jacob for the lower singles
the
US title, right?
Yeah.
Because that then makes sense to me, where it's like, you don't need to be on this, because I don't know if anyone really argue it. Singles gold is a little more higher up on the pedestal than tag gold, right?
For sure.
So like it would be tag titles, IC, world title, right? So it would kind of make sense as to what Solo said before, is like he wants it all.
Yeah,
so
100%. And then just last thing on that is Tongaloa joins a small group of people that have been just handed a title.
Okay.
Like, I think I read the list that only 14 people have been handed a title, 2 being Ted DiBiase buying a title from someone,
True.
Triple H getting handed the World Heavyweight title once they split brands. So it's been a very short list, and Tongaloa, of all people, it gets handed a title.
Interesting. We end up with the match now taking place, and for everything we've said about Tonga, the overall match was solid. The Street Profits are great in the ring. Tom is good in the ring.
Yeah.
You know the other part. We don't need to talk anymore about that. But all said and done, Street Profits do not prevail in this match as much as I may have wanted it to maybe happen, even though I do like the idea of the Bloodline holding the tag titles. I'm just rooting for the Street Profits, man. I love them so much. But it was a good match, all in all. And
did you notice that Tongaloa was kept out of the match for quite a bit of it?
Yeah, that's why it was such a good match.
Yes, exactly.
No, he was sidelined quite often. Even when he'd get up on the ring, he'd get knocked off or whatever. Like, yes, he wasn't in the match as much, which is why it was probably as good of a match as it was. So,
he got knocked down. He tried to get back up again, but they kept him back down.
They just keep knocking him down. But yeah, so Bloodline's still the tag champions, and then this leads to our main event, which we got what KO asked for without having to have too much of a physical altercation to start the show. But KO and Cody against A-Town Down Under.
Yep, and again, pretty straightforward match, but the announcers were definitely trying to feed in that
absolutely
KO was sabotaging Cody by not trying to tag in at certain points and stuff, and I was just like, come on, really
they were really playing into it, like they're eating it, like they're eating the story that is being portrayed here. But it definitely didn't seem like that really at all.
No.
There was almost zero tension between the two at all during that match.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, till
after the match.
Until after the match. They win.
Yep.
They win the match clean, and then after the match,
there comes a part where KO grabs the title, and Cody's got his focus on the stageway where A-Town Down Under is.
Yeah.
And it really almost looks like KO's in a pose where it looks like he's about to...
Not just a pose. He actually started to move towards it. Like, he was moving as if he's going to hit Cody from behind. And then Cody turns and he just hands Cody the championship. And then he gets on the ropes and starts yelling at Theory and Waller. So it was definitely one of those where I think KO's really good at this. He's a good actor.
Yeah,
so
sure.
it was one of those things where he did it so well, and obviously they did it on purpose to set this whole premise up. But he did it so well to it where it was like he actually may have just been running to the ropes to yell at them with Cody, but he also may have been about to hit Cody. Like, it's actually one of those things where it's like I replayed it a couple times and it's like kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is kind of hard to tell. So that's how the show kind of closes out, is Cody being a little like, what the fuck was just about to happen? Like, what was going on? If I wouldn't have turned around, what was going to happen?
Absolutely.
But then he kind of it still embraced KO, and then they show ended with them, on top. So,
all right.
Interesting. That brings us to Raw.
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
We had Drew in the ring. And he was mimicking CM Punk, just doing his whole spiel. It's a great day to be alive in whatever city they're in, and sits in
the crisscross sit down
in the middle of the ring.
Really,
and
just
really hyping
continuing to pound it in that this is such a blood feud between the two of them.
Yes, exactly. Just throwing some personal jabs. Yeah. Punk comes out. They brawl it out, and Punk gets some good lashes in to Drew, and then they just get separated by security. And that brings us to the Intercontinental number one contendership tournament matches.
I have a couple qualms, I think is the word. I have a couple issues with this that we can get to once we kind of talk about this.
Okay.
But I want to make sure I vent about this because I was a little fucking irritated about what's going on.
Gotcha. We got Jay defeating Karrion Kross and Kingston. It was a pretty good match. It wasn't too long drawn out.
No.
Jey Uso wins pretty cleanly.
Good spots, some good action. But yeah, Jay wins the match clean.
And then later on in the night, we had the second of the two triple threat matches, and it was Pete Dunne going over Xavier Woods and The Miz.
Yeah.
Again, pretty similar feel to the other match. Had the good spots, good match, not crazy.
This one to me felt like it was almost actually like they were trying to do too much. There were moments in this match, and this isn't even one of my qualms. This just popped in my mind. But there were moments in the match where it was like, I don't know. I don't even know how to really explain what I was thinking or feeling, but it seemed like they were just trying to do like maybe one up the triple threat match from earlier in the night, and things weren't fully happening the way that they wanted to. It looked uncomfortably awkward at certain points throughout the match to me, which with the Miz in the match and Xavier with Pete Dunne in the match, I honestly could like see that happening because he's still relatively fresh to be in these matches.
True.
But with the other two, that was a little more shocking, like to see Miz kind of put in some of these situations where things weren't running smooth because he's so good in the ring against pretty much anybody, with anybody, tagging with anybody, competing against anyone. Like he can pretty much put anybody over and make anybody look good, but there were moments where it just seemed awkward. My qualms with this match.
Okay, yes.
My issues are what the fuck are Pete Dunne and Karrion Kross doing in this situation in the first place?
Yeah.
Pete Dunne literally just cleanly lost to Sheamus last week, and Karrion Kross hasn't done a goddamn thing in the last fucking 4 months. Like, what the fuck? How is all of a sudden triple threat match? Oh, this is for the number one to fight for the number one contendership for the IC. Why the fuck is he in this match? There are definitely other people that are better fit to be in that match than Pete Dunne. Like, I get, but it's also like he just straight up fucking lost.
Yes.
To a guy that's in another one of these matches next week. So I don't know. It was just like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. It was like Pete Dunne just lost last week, but now he gets rewarded with an opportunity to fight for a title. And Karrion Kross has literally lost every week or been embarrassed every week since I can fucking remember right now. I don't think he's ever necessarily actually been on top of anything. And now he's in this fucking match. Like, that bothered me. I really had an issue with that. I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying because, to your point, they just got off losses, and especially Karrion Kross. So
like, at that point, they might as well have just brought Eugene back and put Eugene in one of these fucking matches next week.
But the good news is, actually, no, not true. Karrion Kross didn't win. Jay did, but Pete Dunne did win. So
that one was like why I had the biggest issue with it. Gotcha. Was because he won. I would have been okay with him being in the match had he not won it. But because he won, I was like, bro, what are we doing? He just lost. Like, he literally just lost last week, but now he gets a shot at a title.
I guess in that theory, though, the only one that would make sense to win that match would be Xavier Woods, because Miz just lost to Bronson Reed.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I guess the way you could look at it is Pete Dunne shined in that match with
what they should have done was had Kofi and Woods switched places in those two matches, and then had Kofi win the second one, and then that could have farthered the feud between fucking New Day.
There you go.
They could have actually had some shit to play off of here. Anyways, I digress. Let's move on. Next week we get Sheamus, Bronson Reed, and Ludwig Kaiser, right?
Yep.
Again in a triple threat match also, and then we also have Ilya, Dragon Lee, and Dom.
Yep.
Dirty Dom.
So after all said and is done, they're going to face off in a fatal four-way
The winners of each of the triple threats will be in a fatal four for the number one contender for Braun Breaker's IC.
And just looking at it right now, is there anyone that you want to win that match?
Win the fatal four-way total?
Yeah.
I mean, Jay, I guess, would be really like. I feel like I've realistically looking at who's in it. I feel well. The first one, I guess, I'm not sure how that one will go because I could see Sheamus, Reed, or Kaiser all winning that match. Kaiser maybe less than the other two. Reed's been on a fucking tear, so I could see that. And then Ilya, I think, is kind of the shoe-in to win the other triple threat match.
Yeah, I think Ilya is the one that wins the tournament in my eyes.
Yeah, I think there's three people that pop out to me. I don't see Pete Dunne winning it.
No, sorry, Pete.
Ilya, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, Jay, just because of the whole, like, his whole story of, like, trying to get singles gold, right? Mm-hmm. But I also don't know that I foresee the company wanting to pit Jay against Braun Breaker because then it's kind of a lose-lose.
Yeah,
like
that's my
whoever
thoughts.
You have go over, the other one is taking a big L, and I don't think you want either of them to do that at this point where they're at. I think Bronson Reed would be a very interesting one to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get Bronson Reed versus Braun Breaker. Now that's the biggest challenge that Braun Breaker has faced. And I think that would be a great way that, like, Bronson Reed's been just fucking running through he just fucking just.
True.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten to that yet. I almost jumped ahead of myself. I stopped. But yeah, like, he's been running through fucking everybody. And so it would be interesting to see them, like, build kind of that growing legend of Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
By then potentially defeating Bronson Reed. So I don't know. As long as it's not Pete Dunne, I'm down for it anyway.
A few moments later.
All right. That leads us to the Randy Orton segment.
Yeah.
And Gunther's already in Germany at this point, so he's not on Raw.
But he had sent in a little video package earlier, just kind of furthering the shit talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of premise.
Randy Orton just went on this walk in history where he said he was the youngest to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He was the one to retire that belt when he unified the titles, and then he's missing that belt. He wants it back. That's his favorite belt, so he's most excited to face Gunther and try to get this back, and he's coming for that 15-time World Heavyweight Championship. Nothing much to it, but it was nice to just, you could tell Randy Orton was coming from the heart on it. And
it was a promo without an interruption.
Yes.
That I don't feel like we get that often anymore.
That's so true.
So that it was nice to just see and, like, know that, like, Gunther's not coming out because we knew Gunther was already in Germany. So it was like you got that opportunity to just be like, oh, we're gonna get just full Orton at his fucking best on the mic. So
yeah, and it definitely came across that way.
Yeah. Building off of last week with what we kind of just alluded to earlier with the Bronson Reed beating the Miz in the hardcore match, and then having Braun Strowman come out and kind of, confront Bronson Reed right at the end there. We get a match between Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. And
meat versus meat.
Meat versus meat, man. Just a big old meat fest. Just some big ass motherfuckers in this match, dude, and some mean just monsters. And match in and of itself was pretty fucking solid. Like they were doing some shit that was like
they were taking big hard falls.
Yeah, hard falls, doing shit out of the ring. Like I was like, all right, fuck yeah, this is pretty solid. Like you're not used to seeing dudes that size move that way.
Very athletic.
Yeah,
guys.
Very athletic dudes, especially for how big they both are. But match spills out of the ring.
We don't get a winner.
Don't get a winner. It's essentially a double count out, I'm assuming is what it led to, or double disqualification, whatever they fucking want to call it. I don't know. It was a no contest, really.
Yes, really no contest.
But we did end up with a winner in the end, realistically.
Yes,
and so this fight spills backstage. They're fucking beating the shit out of each other. They're throwing security guards at each other like as weapons almost. It was fucking wild. But it leads out to the parking lot. The first move that I was like, oh shit, was Braun Strowman fucking just shoulder tackling Bronson Reed over the hood of the car. And he hit the hood of the car, slid, and I swear to God, that motherfucker landed right on his head. Like I was like, oh God, that was straight on the concrete too. I was like, oh, that's not good. I don't think that was supposed to happen. But he got right the fuck back up.
I feel like someone asked him. I could have heard something, but it sounded like he said, "I'm okay."
Oh, okay.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, I mean that was like
I watched that 3 times, and I was like,
it was a pretty, actually, like, scary moment, really, because I don't think it was supposed to happen. Like, I don't think he was supposed to slide off, but he just fucking hit and slid. It was like Dukes of Hazzard just on his back to his head. But yeah, and then this ended up just leading Braun Strowman kind of stayed on top, and then Bronson Reed ends up with a pipe, kind of hits Braun Strowman with a pipe a couple times, and gets Braun Strowman kind of splayed out over the top of the car that they were fighting on and next to, and fucking Bronson Reed climbs up onto, I don't know, it was a dumpster or whatever the fuck, like a planter box raised thing next to him, but then up onto the barricade even higher. So, I mean, he's probably 10 feet in the air, and he fucking hits a tsunami on top of it, and goddamn, dude.
Blows out the windows of the car.
Blew out the windows of the car, the fucking, like, the dome light, like, kind of exploded and smoked and shocked, like, holy shit. And yeah, and then you get Adam Pearce running out saying, wait, we need medics, we need people, security, all that shit. And you had a qualm with this.
Yeah, I had a qualm with it. And I guess it's just a growing one. You pointed it out. There's a lot of stuff.
I have pointed this out multiple times that Adam Pearce has absolutely zero control over his fucking roster. And yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it happens on SmackDown too. My qualm is,
no, it doesn't.
Why does it take after the moment for security and Adam Pearce to come confront these guys? Why does
it's like they're waiting in the back and they're like, all right, let's wait until one of them almost dies and then we'll try to break it up.
And then, I mean, what were they doing between the time the match
spilled out into the arena?
Exactly. There was a lot of happening in between that, only for tsunami to happen, and then Pierce to go, we need some medics. We need, like that's his go-to line. It's no longer I need a drink line anymore. It's get the medics, because that's all that's happening on Raw is under his watch, and so
people are just getting hurt and put out of action. Like, we've had 3 now people that are now going to, I'm assuming, be out of action for the foreseeable future with Braun Strowman, R-Truth, and Seth Rollins. So.
I mean, especially,
and it would have been The Miz too had Braun Strowman not come out and interjected himself into it. So,
I mean, if you know Reed is on this tear, you would almost want to be ringside watching him, being ready to stop him. Versus,
like this, he is more of a threat to everybody than the Wyatt Six were, and they had beefed up security for fucking video packages before, but nothing for the actual physical being that's going around killing people.
So true. I guess there's no question in it. I just am like, make it make sense to me. What is Pierce doing that keeps him so busy?
How long are we gonna go before somebody relieves Adam Pearce of his duties? That's what I want to know.
Well, I guess more to come on that.
Yeah. This leads us to the main event of the night on Raw, which was Uncle Howdy's debut match against Chad Gable. We've covered this ongoing feud for multiple weeks now, and we finally get Uncle Howdy live and in action. It was a fucking good match, really good.
I love the nods to Bray Wyatt, like the dancing with Chad Gable. The John Cena, Bray Wyatt did the same thing. It was nice to see him in the ring solo, and the nods to Brody Lee were in there as well. You also got you got to see who we all obviously know it is, Bo Dallas, in a one-on-one match for the first time in a fucking long time now in the WWE, and he fucking looked really good. Yeah, he did. He looked really good in the ring, like better than honestly he probably ever did before. So it was like you could tell that the death of Bray and just this whole story that they're building with the continuance of what Bray was building, means so much more to him now to be in the ring and doing that than it ever had before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like you can just tell that by how he's performing in the ring. Because I mean, he looks good in the ring. He's moving really well. Him and Chad Gable had really good chemistry in the ring. It was solid. But you get what you could expect at some point throughout this match. You get the Creed brothers interfering, Ivy Nile getting involved. You get the rest of the White Six coming out, except for Nikki Cross, which is the interesting thing to me. Yeah, because Ivy came out, but Nikki Cross wasn't there. So there's times where like she's there and she isn't, and that I'm like, why? But I mean, I to a point get it because it's like 3 and 3. It's like American Made almost needs a fourth, another person. Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, no, I made that
To
note
match
too, and
numbers,
I was like, where's Nikki? Like, you have Ivy Nile involved, you got to have Nikki. So,
Yeah.
but the only other thing I had, the wig was a little too long for Uncle Howdy's mask. I thought.
I agree.
You know,
I'm wondering if the wig will always be there,
yeah,
or if it's just more of like they're letting Bo Dallas grow his hair out longer
oh,
to then have it be his hair,
that would make sense.
right?
Yeah.
Like, because yeah, I agree. The wig was, it was a little too much, and you could tell it was getting in the way at times.
Yeah, it seemed to be in the way.
Yeah. So,
but overall,
the
good
rest
match.
of
Of the presentation of Uncle Howdy was good.
Yeah. The mask looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
I love the mask.
I agree.
Yeah, I was curious how well he'd be able to see in it, but then I also was like, it's very, very similar style to Kane's masks in the later years.
Yeah, where it had the
open mouth and everything, and he was fine with it. So yeah, I don't know. The mask looks good. The whole thing looks really good. Uncle Howdy wins a match, and yeah, it was.
I'll just be interested. I don't think this is the end of American Made versus the Wyatt Six. I'm not sure what the next step is, but
yeah, that is kind of interesting, just because you did get leader versus leader.
Yeah.
On that episode, so it is kind of like that. I feel like that is usually like the end of whatever feuds you get, but it doesn't feel like that, like you said. So I don't know if like
concluded.
I don't know how many War Games matches they actually do at War Games, but I mean that would be interesting too, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
but I don't know. So yeah. That
concludes Raw.
Yeah, that concludes our episodic coverage of the week. But we got to get to our banger of the week.
Banger of the week. I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay, absolutely. I'm 100% going Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman with the tsunami on top of the car. Like, that was fucking crazy. That was 10 times more explosive and impressive, monstrous than Braun Breaker to Ricochet. Like, the Braun Breaker to Ricochet was like, all right, you got power slammed onto the hood of a car. Cool. He fucking is gigantic, and he crushed the top of a car onto another person. Like, it was pretty wild. So yeah, I'm going with that.
And I'm gonna have to follow suit, because that tsunami was
insane. Crazy. Yeah,
I watched it over and over and over again. It's just he's so impressive. I love what they're doing with Bronson Reed right now. They're making him a monster after, like, I mean, I've always been a big fan of him, but they've been just taking it really slow with him, and not really giving him a time to shine.
Yeah, not really pushing him much.
But attacking Rollins, taking out one of your main eventers, and then just going on this tear since then.
And I like how they set it up with the one tsunami on the top of the car being like that thing. Mm-hmm. Because it was like they had to up it. They had to figure out a way to make it so that he wasn't hitting another 6. Because if it would have been that, it would have just kind of been like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been, I would have been over it at that point. But like, this completely changed it up, made it a little more fresh, made it, catastrophic feeling. And more so than the 6. Like, that one on Strowman on the car felt more destructive than either R-Truth or Rollins getting hit with 6.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, the announcers were really driving home that there hasn't been a parking lot brawl in a long time. So maybe that's what this is leading to, is a parking lot brawl between Strowman and Reed, which I'm here for. But yeah, absolute easy pick for the banger of the week, I believe.
Yeah.
Which brings us to Bash in Berlin predictions. I believe the card is set in stone now.
Yeah.
We wrote down the matches so we wouldn't forget one
this time. We wouldn't forget Punk and McIntyre again.
So let's go through them, and let's just give our predictions for the show. So we'll start with Alba Isla versus Bianca and Jade for the women's tag team champions. Who you got?
Bianca and Jade.
I do too.
I don't see how there's any way that they can't walk out of Berlin as the champs at this point, with just like the build that they've been having since they lost the titles.
Yeah.
And Alba and Isla are like good in the ring, but they're just not believable. I don't think as the tag, like, they're not over with the crowd. They're just, it's to the point now where they've held it long enough. They need to drop it and Jade and Bianca are the two to take it. So I think it's a no-brainer that they walk out.
I agree. Bianca and Jade, again, to your point, I don't think Alba and Isla are really connecting with the crowd, even in drawing heat. They're just not drawing much reaction at all. So
yeah,
easy guess on that one.
Yeah, so we get the Terror Twins versus Livdom, as you coined.
Yes.
Liv Morgan and Dom Mysterio. What do you think on that one? Where are you going?
I'm going with the Terror Twins, the big bads over there, and I think they get the win over them.
All right. I'm going to disagree with you on that, actually.
Ooh.
I'm going with Liv and Dom winning this match due to interference from the Judgment Day. I just don't see that. I personally feel as though if the Terror Twins win this, it is more solidifying of like the ending or creeping more towards the ending of the feud, where I feel like if interference causes them to lose it, it's just going to help build that. And this eventually, like, I feel like it has to eventually lead to Priest versus Balor and Rhea versus Liv. So at some point, I don't know. I just feel like the Terror Twins winning this tag match would actually like almost put a little bit of a damper on it. So I don't know. That's where I'm going.
You bring up a good point. I'm not going to switch my answer, but that does make sense. So, which brings us to CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in the strap match.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
I feel like it has to be Punk. He lost the first match. I don't first see him losing back-to-back singles matches, like his first two matches back other than the Rumble. Literally, he would go 0-3 in matches back since he returned, which just doesn't seem realistic to me. But also, I feel like him winning is the only way that they can continue to grow this feud and keep this going, because this is like one of the hottest things in the WWE right now, and they're not going to end this anytime soon.
I agree. CM Punk is going to win.
We got Orton and Gunther.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'm going with Gunther.
I'm going with Gunther too. As much as I want Orton to win this, I just don't feel like I think the match is going to be good. I think the match is going to be really solid. I just don't care for this being what the match is, because I want Orton to win this, but I don't feel like there's any way he does, which doesn't feel right to me with it being Orton at this stage in his career. Like, he should always have a realistic shot at winning this title, and I don't feel like there's any chance. It's in Germany. Gunther just got this is his first title defense. Like, I just don't feel like it's a realistic shot for Orton. So I agree. I think it's going to be Gunther, but I want it to be Orton.
Yeah, it's unfortunate this has to be his first title defense against Orton, because you are really, you're really pulling for Orton. I think any fan of wrestling is pulling for Orton to get the 15. He deserves it. Yeah, but you also, for sure, Gunther is a big deal, and
absolutely,
and you can't just take the title. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Agreed. We both agreed Gunther. Which brings us to the final match: KO versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed heavyweight title.
I feel like it's another kind of similar situation where, like, I just don't see Cody losing. And it would, like, my whole concern with this is, like I've said before, I want this to get through and through, said and done, finished, face versus face. That's what I've said before. I want that to continue to happen. That's my biggest prediction, is like, not even prediction, it's just a hope. Like, I want that to happen. Especially with some of this building tension that we've talked about. I'm like, fuck, I want him to get through to the end of the match with it being still friend versus friend, because we haven't seen that in forever, and that's I just think it's new, it's refreshing. So but I do think Cody's going to retain, no matter maybe how much I do want KO to get a title again too, but I do think Cody's going to win. I think it's the right move to have Cody win it too.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cody wins it. It's going to be a great match, I predict. Yeah, that is our Bash in Berlin prediction. So we'll find out next episode how we did.
Yeah, absolutely. This brings us to our belts question of the week. Tim, you came up with this one.
Yes, I did.
And I hate you for it, but
this is payback.
You always set shit up though for it. Like, it's you. I told you this earlier. You have a different brain for this stuff, where like you retain a lot more of more detailed type things when it comes to wrestling and like things of the past, like far past. Like you can remember, I could like say a match and you'd be like, oh yeah, that was at Backlash in 92. And I'm like, the fuck? How do you know that? It's impressive, but it also fucks me over because then you ask me questions like this and I'm just like, fuck, I don't know. So I had to do a little research before this so I could have some answers so that I could please you.
All right.
In a non-sexual way.
All right. To the question. Over time, there have been several iconic promo hype videos leading into a match. Most consider The Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 17.
Which, I would like to point out, is the only one that I could fucking remember anyways. I digress.
With My Way, Limp Bizkit playing in the throughout the video, it's considered the GOAT, and I would put it up there at the top because it was the perfect hype video for that, and I still talk about it to this day. I watch it several times a year and remember why it was so good.
Yeah.
So my question is to you: give me 3 that you rank highly. It doesn't need to be necessarily close to that, but just up where you hold that up. Is there, and if there was a song, list the song with it as well.
Yeah. Okay. I do have 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna start. I'm having a hard time like putting them in order of like which ones I think.
No order necessary.
Okay,
You just
perfect.
rank them highly.
So I'm gonna go with the very first one that popped into my mind when I read this question was WrestleMania 26, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker for the second year in a row. Career versus the streak, the whole build to it. Michaels and Taker win the Slammy for match of the year at the WrestleMania before WrestleMania 25. Shawn Michaels comes out to accept the award, and then as he's like walking off, you can tell obviously he's disappointed, he's bummed out, all that. He comes back and he issues a challenge to Taker again at WrestleMania this next year, WrestleMania 26, and Taker rejects. He says no. He's like, that chapter's said and done. Like, I have no reason to face you again. I beat you already at WrestleMania this last year. No reason for me to do it. Obviously, pisses Shawn Michaels off. Shawn Michaels freaks out. He goes on kind of this fucking wild kick, right? Mm-hmm. He's doing some crazy shit. He says he's going to enter the Royal Rumble, and he is going to win the Royal Rumble, and then Taker is the champion he's going to face. Well, he ends up getting eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and then that really sets him over the edge. He starts super kicking fucking referees. He's like lucky he's not getting suspended, all this stuff. It starts building tension between him and Triple H. They were DX at the time still. And yeah, it just leads to all this tension. Triple H is like, dude, you're obsessed with this. You need to fucking chill. Like, that's not happening. Well, Michaels ends up kind of disappearing for a little while, says that his career's done. He leaves for a little while. Elimination Chamber rolls around. Taker's defending the championship, and it's down to Taker and Jericho. Michaels comes up through underneath the Elimination Chamber and costs Taker the title, which then leads to the match where Taker accepts the match at WrestleMania and says, under one condition, my streak versus your career. Oh, yeah. And Michaels says the famous quote, if I can't beat you at WrestleMania, I have no career. You're on.
Yep.
And yeah, that was that. I don't necessarily, I don't know off the top of my head what the song in that
Running
video.
Up the Hill.
Okay,
I know
Tim,
it.
see, this is what I'm talking about. That is fucking goddamn
By placebo.
Rain Man with wrestling over here. But yeah, so that's the song. But that one is the first one that popped in my mind. The other two are actually connected, kind of. Okay. But at WrestleMania, it's 5 years apart. Okay, so first one, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, WrestleMania 30.
Okay.
The video package, it had Monsters by Imagine Dragons, which was this fucking video was so good, dude. But it's really just going through the whole how Daniel Bryan has pretty much always been told he's not good enough. The company has never backed him. They've never given him a real push. They don't believe in him. He's been called by, at the time it was the Authority, which is Triple H and Stephanie and Vince and all them, that he's a B+ player. He's not a main eventer. He's not that guy. They don't trust him to do it and all that. And then it was like one of the first times where it was like the entirety of the fan base was purely behind Daniel Bryan. And it was like people legitimately hated Triple H and that whole regime because of it.
I was part of that hype video because one of the scenes is in Seattle. And
really?
And it was like it was right before Randy versus Cena were about to unify the title, and we took over the crowd just doing the yes. So
yeah, and that was the whole yes movement time and everything. It was just such a big moment, and you end up with Daniel Bryan getting the win. So that was awesome. The next one's WrestleMania 35, Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan. Which was another really good hype video, and there were a lot of parallels. Vince McMahon, to Kofi's face, called him a B+ player. Kofi Kingston had 11 years in the business, had never won like an individual title, or never got a push for a world title at least. It was just deemed a tag team wrestler, was nothing more than a tag team wrestler, all of that. And then the way that it went to get him into the match, right? He won a triple threat match, right? To what was supposed to be to send him to WrestleMania, but the Vince came out and said, yeah, you're in as long as you can beat this next person. Daniel Bryan comes out, beats him, and then they end up getting the tag team champion, or the tag team gauntlet match, where if Xavier Woods and Big E could win the gauntlet match, they would get Kofi in, which I thought was such a cool thing, because that was like the only time that's really kind of happened, right?
Yeah,
is where exactly. It was like, you got these two dudes going to bat for this guy, right? And it was such a cool hype video to just get that all set up. And then the famous line from that whole thing was Kofi like pleading with Vince, like, what do I like? Tell me what I have to do. And it felt real. It felt very real and very emotional, and like it was like a true thing. Like, dude, I'm tell me what I have to do to prove myself to you that I can put the company on my shoulders. Yeah. And yeah, those are my three. I thought they were fucking good.
Those are three great ones.
Yeah. And what about you?
I'm glad I asked, because I do love all those, but those are not my three.
Perfect.
We do not match on any of them. But those, I mean, I got chills just talking about the Kofi one right there.
I know. It was that was a good one.
So my three, I got one that kind of follows suits with the original, is WrestleMania 19, Rock versus Stone Cold.
Okay.
Number 3, this is the third time they faced each other at WrestleMania, and the song behind it was Crack Addict by Limp Bizkit. And it just kind of had a similar feel to the WrestleMania 17 one, but it was more Stone Cold saying, I've beaten you 2 times already at WrestleMania. What makes you think got the third? And then Rock was Hollywood Rock at this time, major heel. It had a great build up to the match. I think it was an easy building off of just the history between the two. So hold that up there. Second one, Stone Cold versus Kurt Angle at SummerSlam. It was during 2001, and it was Bodies by Drowning Pool. Just an awesome theme song. And Stone Cold just went over to the Alliance, and Kurt Angle and him had a great feud over that summer.
Huge feud.
And that theme song just playing in the background of everything that was going on, just it fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Survivor Series, the first Elimination Chamber had Saliva Always as the main theme song for it, but it just started with Eric Bischoff introducing the Elimination Chamber. It had this like epic music and just showing the structure and how dangerous it's gonna be. And then the song hits, and it's got Shawn Michaels, who just came back wrestling, Triple H as champion. We got RVD, Booker T was in it, and Kane. And it was just big feel to it.
There'd be one more.
What's that?
I said there'd be one more person, because that's only 5.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, those are my 3. They just had big feels to them. Which leads me to my follow-up question. Do you think these add to the match build-up, or?
Yeah, I think it's like I not to shit on your question, but I feel like that's kind of a dumb question, because it's like, I feel like it's so obvious that it's like, yeah, it builds, dude. It totally builds to the feel and the importance and whatnot of the match. And everything. Like that's why we remember them in such detail,
Yeah.
That's why they stick out to us so much, is because of what those do for the matches themselves. So
Agreed. I just don't think they do it enough anymore.
I agree.
They went away from it for a while. You would get it for big matches, but no, it's to your point. It does make you remember almost the match detail for detail just because of the build up and that feeling towards it.
Yeah,
so
for sure. That brings us to Blockbusters. We have 3 movies we're talking about today.
Yeah, 2 of which kind of fall into this creature, monster, animal feel. Again, there's not a lot of details on the 3 that we're going to be talking about, but also pique my interest. So,
absolutely. And then the third one is kind of following suit with the longtime sequels that we've talked about before too. So
yes, absolutely.
Kind of picking up from where we left off with that. So the first one we're talking about is Jurassic World Rebirth. They just this last week put out a teaser kind of,
but not really.
Some set photos, stuff like that. We know that Scarlett Johansson is in it.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that Mahershala Ali is in it, and then I don't know who this person is, but Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah.
Do you know him from anything specifically?
I don't know him from anything.
No. All right, so he's in it as well. But those are the 3 leads. And yeah, so we have the synopsis for the movie, essentially, is 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they once thrived. The 3 most colossal creatures within that tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. All right.
Yeah. I mean, filming began apparently June of this year, and it's planned to come out next July 2nd of 2025. We got Gareth Edwards directing, and he's been known for Godzilla 2014, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So really good movies that he's helmed. David Cope, who co-wrote the original Jurassic Park, returns to write Rebirth, which has me excited because, I mean, the original is a classic, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on this? Are you a fan of the first 2 trilogies?
Absolutely. I love the first 2. I've watched them, multiple times, and I like how they're going about that. This is it's 5 years after the events of the last one, but it's going to be a new story, and it's going to follow new characters and stuff. They're not actually having, from what I've read at least, they're not having anyone return from the original. Now, obviously, that could change between now and next July. Who knows? But that's what I had read, was that it's kind of its own thing now, which kind of is also a play on the title of the movie, is Rebirth, right? So it's not they're not redoing it. It's not like they're trying to just reboot it. They're continuing from the previous source material, but it is its own thing. Yeah, which I'm excited for. I think that's cool. I think it's refreshing. I think that it allows them to then kind of go their own way and do their own thing and make it their own, which is nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I love it.
I was a big fan of the first 2 trilogies. I know the later 2 world movies got kind of shit on, but I take them for what they are. Yeah. They're fun dinosaur movies, right? Yeah. A lot of action. I mean, if there's a good story behind it, sure, but I just take it for what it is. It's fun. It's a blockbuster, and I'm excited for it. I'm here for it and ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. This brings us to the second of our 2 creature movies, if you will.
We got Anaconda. The writer of this, writer-director, is supposed to be Tom Gormican, who directed a Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's a reimagining. It's not a reboot to the 1997 movie. It's supposed to just kind of be a meta feel to the movie, apparently. Jack Black and Paul Rudd are in early talks to star in this movie. I think those 2 alone together in a movie is going to be great. The story that is being pitched is that it will revolve around a group of friends going through a midlife crisis who are remaking their favorite movie from their youth. They head to the rainforest only to find themselves in a fight for their lives against natural disasters, giant snakes, and violent criminals. I mean, that's just got a good story to it right there.
Absolutely.
Paul Rudd is rumored to be playing an actor who did a stint on a cop show, and Jack Black would be playing the director of this film that they're trying to go out and do, but that's not set in stone. Apparently, this has been in the works since 2023 and going through several rewrites, so hopefully that's not a bad sign. Hopefully it's just getting the story right to make it a fun movie. What do you think about this? And then do you like the creature monster films? And any favorites of yours?
Yeah, I love this. I loved the original Anaconda. I loved, J-Lo, Owen Wilson,
Ice Cube,
but the old dude, the villain guy that was in it. What is his name? Voight, yes. John Voight?
Yeah, that's
his name?
Yeah, John Voight.
Anyway, so great movie, great cast in the original. I've watched, I think, pretty much all of the succeeding ones.
Yeah.
I enjoy those movies. I enjoy the Godzilla movies. I enjoy the Jurassic Park movies. I enjoy the creature movies. Jaws.
Yep.
Classic. My favorite. Oh man. Okay, first I guess I have to ask this: do Alien and Predator count as these creature movies?
I mean, they're creatures, they're monsters. I'll allow.
Okay, because that might change my answer then. I think the original Predator would probably take the cake for me on that one.
Okay.
But I did love was it the first? I think it was the first Alien versus Predator movie as well.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, that was fun. And I know those movies got shit on, but I enjoyed them for what they were. The original movie I was going to pick for this before I knew I could throw in Alien and Predator was Lake Placid.
Okay.
Lake Placid's such a good fucking movie. But yeah, so.
That's funny you say that. I'm a big fan of these movies. I think they're always corny to a point, but I think that campy is maybe a better word for it, but definitely really enjoy them. Favorites that come to mind was going to be Lake Placid. That's just one of those really fun, good ones. And then following suit with a alligator crocodile movie, Crawl. It's a newer movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's like flooding going on and gators coming into play. It was a fun movie. Really, really enjoyed that one.
I think I have to actually change my favorite. Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Because I just was like, oh, another creature movie is Arachnid or Arachnophobia.
Yeah.
With Dumb and Dumber. Not Jim Carrey.
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
That's a fucking awesome movie. But then I was like, oh my God, fucking like creature movie. Like spiders, obviously, just by themselves. But then Eight-Legged Freaks where they're like fucking giant mutated ones. That movie was fucking awesome with David Arquette.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so good. Anyways. I love them. I'm excited for this. I will be looking for more info on this and looking for a trailer in the future and seeing what they're doing with it and seeing how the story plays out.
Absolutely.
Brings us to Face Off 2.
Where the hell have I been?
I don't know, because I didn't know that this was a thing until I read it on here when you put it on here. So that was completely news to me as well.
Apparently, this has been in the works for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I only heard about this last week. So
yeah, looks like it's not confirmed that Cage and Travolta are returning, but the rumor is that they would be. And that it's a direct sequel to the 1997 film. So again, this kind of plays off, like this would have been a great answer to our question like 2 weeks ago or whatever when we talked about like what older movie, one-off movie would you like to see a sequel to? This, absolutely. I fucking love this movie. Face Off, the first Face Off was amazing.
Yes, it was.
It's such a crazy concept too.
I
think it was based on a book.
All those 90s, early 2000 action movies.
Yeah, they're all great.
So really excited for that one. I hope that they do return to it. This is one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies. So.
Yeah, me too. Like this, and then another one that I'd love to see a sequel to also, or maybe, I don't know necessarily about a sequel because that might be hard, but maybe just like. I don't know about a reboot either. Maybe just leave it alone. But Con Air. I fucking love Con Air too. It's so good. I don't know if I'd want to see like a reboot done of it or a remake of it, but yeah. Anyways, I'm Face Off 2. I'm fucking here for it. Let's go. Yeah, That's awesome. Especially if you get Nicolas Cage and John Travolta back into it.
Yeah.
So good. So
all right,
dude. Hell yeah. That covers our kind of movie news that we got for this week, and it brings us to our Blockbusters question of the week.
And just kind of following suit with my belt question, it kind of is similar. Movie trailers, get you hyped for a movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, are you a fan of them? Do you think they give away too much to the movie? And then I would like two trailers that got you hyped for a movie, and you can't list Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. That's fair. I do like movie trailers for sure. That's like one of the main reasons my wife hates going to the movies with me, is because I'm like, babe, we have to get there. She's like, the movie doesn't start till, I'm like, no, but like, she's like, we can show up at this time when it says it starts, and we can get our snacks and stuff then. And I'm like, no, we can't, because I'm going to miss all the fucking previews. Like, I need to see what is going on. And she's just like, well, I don't fucking care. So, which again, nothing on her. It's not her thing. It's my thing. That's why I go to movies with you more often, because you're the same way. You love. I know you love trailers as well. So I'm answering that question for you. But yeah, I love the trailers. The second part of the question: do they reveal too much? I think they can. I think they definitely have at certain points, but I think some of them do a really good job of not doing that. Mm-hmm. Right? Avengers Endgame, for instance, great trailer. Didn't reveal too much in any way, shape, or form, because it like the entire trailer was only from like the first 20 minutes of the movie, and it was an almost fucking 3-hour movie or whatever. So you know what I mean? So like some of them, some of them definitely show too much. Like for instance, Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it would have been better off for them to leave X-23 out of the trailer.
Yeah,
I think it would have been like, oh fuck, have
spoiler alert.
Fucking spoiler alert, have fucking Blade, have Elektra, have Gambit, and X-23 all 4 back-to-back make their appearance. But at that point, we only were surprised by the 3 of the 4, because we already knew the 4th was in it. So like, I think that's one of the examples of like, maybe they did overshare, but it is what it is. 2 trailers that got me hyped for a movie. I'm gonna give you one that's stupid.
Okay.
But it did get me hyped for the movie, however you felt about the movie, even if you've seen it or not. And then I'm going to give you one that is a completely different Marvel movie. The first one is Sausage Party.
Oh, okay.
The trailer for that was literally the thing that I was like, I have to fucking see this. Like, the cast of the movie, especially at that point, like, I mean, that was one of the last movies of that like R-rated comedy kind.
Yeah.
Before the movement
of
everything that kind of has kept them from being made since. Really, I feel like it was one of the last ones, because it came out in, I want to say, like between 2016 2018, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
maybe even a little bit before, I can't remember. But it was just, and it's such a fucking just stupid movie, but it's fantastic. It's a cartoon movie about a bunch of food in a grocery store, and it is so overly sexual and just inappropriate. It's so fucking good.
That final
but the I know the fucking final scene in it, but the trailer for it was it was just fucking awesome. And it literally was one where I was like, I have to see this movie. Mm-hmm. Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, fucking, I'm pretty sure like both James and Dave Franco were in them. Like, just a ton of people that I'm not going to try to name because I'm going to miss so many, but they were awesome. The second movie, which was more probably up the alley of what you were hoping for with an answer to this, was Captain America Civil War.
Okay.
Because when they dropped the final trailer for it that showed Spider-Man come down, that was one where it was like, yeah, they could have left that out, kind of like what I talked about with X-23.
Yeah.
But that was such a huge moment, because that was the first inclusion of Spider-Man. That was us knowing that Marvel and Sony got a deal done. That was us knowing that Spider-Man is now in the fucking MCU where he belongs. Mm-hmm. So that to me was like, fuck. It was like face melted type of reaction. So those are my 2. What do you got?
Those are good ones, man.
What are you wrapping us up with?
I am a big fan of trailers, by the way. Haley can attest to that. I will get done watching a show, and it'll be like right before we go to bed, and then I'm like, oh, look, trailers, and then I'll just go on a binge fest of watching random trailers. But I do love them. I do agree that I to your point, some are good about not revealing too much. but others do
Yeah.
a good job of it. The 2 trailers I got for you are one from Marvel,
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay.
I know that's a more recent one, but I thought it felt emotional, and it felt like a good, like you could feel it was a conclusion to the trilogy of Guardians of the Galaxy, and the songs they were playing in it just brought emotion, and I thought it got me super hyped for that movie. And then the other one is Scream 5. The trailer for that one, I didn't know if we'd ever get another Scream, and then just hearing the phone ring, and then just the play on texting, and just bringing it more modern and go, and then just seeing Ghostface and hearing the voice in that trailer just got me so hyped. Absolutely. And then the final line, Sydney, it's an honor, got me super hyped for the movie. So
hell yeah,
those are the 2 trailers I got.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode.
Episode 13,
Bourbon,
man.
Belts and Blockbusters, guys.
The Triple B podcast. Delightful doing business with you, bro Chacho.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Just look at us. Would you look at us? Just look at us.
Let's fucking go.